Hi, I'm Shane Balkham, Client Investment Director at US Asset Management, and welcome to my 2-minute missive. We've had UK inflation data out today. UK Consumer Price Index rose 2.8% to the end of April, year on year. That was below expectations and also a downward trend from last month's, so March to March was 3.3. So good news for the Governor of the Bank of England, Andrew Bailey, as he and his colleagues are testifying to Parliament today. However, consumers' perception of inflation is driven by what is called high frequency purchases, stuff we buy a lot of every single day, so fuel and food. And the UK government was looking to put pressure on supermarkets to put a price cap on certain basic food items. This was met with some hostility from the supermarkets. And what we've seen now is Starmer today put a freeze on the fuel duty increase that was supposed to come in. The US is having it a little bit worse. Their inflation data popped up to 3.8%, much higher than the 3% target they're set, and an upward trend that started well before the Iran war. Now, most of that is down to energy prices. The blockade in the Strait of Hormuz is putting significant pressure, and bonds, global bonds, are in a period of uncertainty. And investors, I think, are hoping that this pressure from the bond market and the inflation reading data will pressure on Trump to solve the Middle East crisis. I think the problem is the previous example of solving crises was the trade tariffs, which at that time were under Trump's control. Not so anymore with the Supreme Court rulings. It's a little bit more complicated to solve Middle East politics. So hopefully that won't last too long. If it does, this perception of increased inflation, increased energy prices, supply and demand constraint could definitely affect particularly US growth. I think it's sort of a great example of the importance of having an appropriately diversified portfolio and not being reliant on a single asset class for your returns. Before you make any financial decisions, please speak to a financial planner. These views are my own, and thank you for watching. Cheers.